Select Board's meeting, February 6, 2018. In attendance, Doug Moglen, Joe Didi, Russ Fox, Carl Steinhardt, Cindy Pendleton.
Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Tuesday, February 6th. At this time, we'll take any public comments, except for kids that go to school in Enfield. They're out. Does anybody have any public comments that they want to address to the Board of Selectmen at this time? Okay, even kids from going to school in Enfield. Still no?
Nothing.
No? Okay.
Same barber looks like though. Anyways,
Yeah, bowl of soup with that.
hopefully tortellini.
We have one of the many hopes
Yes.
with us tonight.
Exactly.
You are our last hope.
Theme for the night.
No, not the last.
Well, there's more coming. We got a few years.
Wait, we got up and coming hopes?
We got future hope.
Future hope. We need that. We do. Okay, so, Chief?
This is Pat Hope. Nick, I'm sorry. I'm all hoped up.
Full of hope.
Full of hope. Yeah. So, anyways, Nick Hope, and he is of the group that went to the Mass Academy this past summer for the 4 months. He is the last one to get his completion and all his credentialing, and is now a certified firefighter 1-2 hazmat, and will be an interior firefighter with us. So I have this opportunity to bring it before you and the honorary helmet.
Come on up.
Welcome aboard.
Bring up the little hopes. Get a picture.
There's a couple there. You're right in there, son. You're the boss. Let the boss get in there.
brother,
Let the boss
cousin?
do it.
Grandfather? That's your brother. You want to give the helmet to your brother?
Other than that, come on right in there. son.
Perfect.
You can take it home.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Well done.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good accomplishment.
Great accomplishment.
All right. Let the kids know, stay in school. It's a good thing.
Stay in school, even in Enfield.
Even in Enfield, yeah. It'll get better.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we're running ahead for the 6:10.
Hold on, they're all gonna leave.
Okay. So we have to
All done,
acknowledge.
that was it.
That's it.
We're gonna go to the Enfield town meeting.
The rest is in his paycheck. Yeah.
We're gonna go to the Enfield town meeting.
Oh, he's a volunteer, isn't he? That's right, yeah. Yeah. Don't expect much in the check.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Sir?
Thank you. Have a great night.
Better than when I was in Lost Acres, so apparently it was only
Uh-oh, somebody's forgetting their thermos.
Okay, we need to acknowledge payroll warrant 1819 dated 2/5 in the amount of $210,799.24. And then we have the minutes of January 30th.
Are you good with them?
I am.
Make a motion for those minutes of January 30th.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Executive,
Was there executive session minutes?
should be right behind.
Yep.
Oh,
Well, they were with the packet.
Yeah, I
Oh.
put them
in our chairman?
here already.
Yeah.
Right behind you.
Yeah.
Everybody's phone is going off at the same
Well,
time.
because I think
Yeah.
Cindy's calling us all.
Cindy's calling us all, and she's sitting right next to us.
Oh, did you set it for 6 o'clock to connect?
Yeah. Yep.
Hold on, I'll get there.
They're all going now.
Make a motion for January 30th, executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Only me. Only me.
That's,
Oh, would you?
Nothing I know.
just ignore it. Well, everyone knows that the thing for tomorrow night is,
Canceled in May.
it's
Oh, now they do.
postponed
Postponed for May 6th.
until May 16th. Postponed.
So this gentleman just walked in, so you might want to
Yeah,
tell him.
the opiate
Yeah,
thing
I
is
was already,
Okay.
postponed till May 16th. I lost it.
All right.
Okay, did the minutes. Still doing okay. So we need a motion to appoint the law firm of Merrick O'Connell as special counsel for litigation.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Should we have some background discussion on that, so clarification?
Sure.
By all means.
All right. I know that you've all been aware that we've been served with a former DPW director. Jeff Neese has filed in federal district court an action against the town of Southwick. You two gentlemen weren't on board. I was. I think he left the employment of the town of Southwick approximately 5 years ago. So this is, I think, very important that we have Merrick O'Connell involved, along with town council and, of course, our insurance agency, our insurance, Maya, to help defend us in this action. So, I'd be happy to share in executive session any background information.
Excellent. Thank you. Appointment of clerk. We kind of left this hanging at the end of our meeting, last meeting. That was my bad.
Me too.
So we have, let me just get caught up.
You tell me that was-
Hi.
Flip it. Little folder. There you go. Do you want the,
Aha. So we had 3 very brief interviews last week. We had Monica Jakes, Emily Dunn, and Mary B. came in. And we had discussed that with all 3 of the, we had asked each of them some questions. We went over the process that they went through and so on and so forth. And we need a motion to approve.
I went over all the resumes again. I think we have 3 very good applicants in front of us. That made the cut down from, what was it, Carl?
Looks like 39 applications.
39
13
applications.
interviews,
So,
and
and,
second interviews,
I
7 or 8.
that's why I went over the resumes again and again and again. And after looking at it, I think we have one of the applicants who has a little bit stronger resume than the other 2, for this position. So I'd like to make the motion for Emily Dunn.
I'll second that.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go. Subject to all the,
Yep.
Everything under the
Yep.
sun.
Approved, yep.
approval of DPW facility for annual tractor rally. There's a letter here from the Ag Commission, if I recall. Is that in the action folder? Sure it is.
It just says 3A, approval of use of DPW
go
facility.
to 5A.
5A?
She's just trying to keep you on your toes.
Yep.
They go together,
Yeah, that was
correct?
from Ag, yep. From Brett Mitchell, the chair of the commission. April 27th with a rain date of April 28th. They've had it last year, I believe they had it at the DPW.
Yep.
And I think it worked out rather well. have it
I
there.
don't think the attendance was as good as Chuck's, but they had no issues. Yeah, it ran smoothly. Yep.
So,
Did it rain? Okay. There you go. Now we have a rain day.
they have approval from DPW Director Randy Brown to use the facility. So I just need a motion to allow this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dennis, are you ready?
Come on up, guys.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bridget Likely. I'm from the Appalachian Mountain Club.
Hello, how are you? Joe Didi?
Good.
Hi, Doug Mogul.
Russ Fox.
Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Packets and everything? Oh, boy.
Wasn't sure. I know we sent materials through email, but I figured hard copy is always good to have on hand.
Letter itself is inside of the actual folder on the left if you
Got it.
choose to sign
Yep.
it.
Yeah. So like I said, I work for the Appalachian Mountain Club, and I'm the coordinator for the New England National Scenic Trail. And AMC has been working with Dennis over the past month or so to put together this application for a recreational trails program grant in order to make the section of trail from Rising Corner Road down to the new floating boardwalk accessible. And I've listened to your audio minutes from last meeting, and I think that your three main things you wanted to address was liability, who's going to be maintaining this, and then the condition of the boardwalk currently. So I have answers for all of those.
Wonderful.
That's why we asked you to come in, and that's why I do the audio minutes to get it, what we were trying to get at.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So the first thing I have, he has it right in front of you, and I think it's the first thing on the left side of that folder is the outline of the recreational use statute, which basically says, no, there is no liability because it's being used recreationally and you're not charging anyone to use the land. So as long as it's open and free for recreation, you're not liable as a municipality for any injury or anything that happens on that trail, regardless of whether it's been made accessible or not.
Just this trail or any trail in town?
Any trail in town, as long as it's public and you're not charging anyone. So that's
Wonderful.
statewide,
That hold up for the rail trail too?
correct?
Good
Oh,
to
we
know.
didn't know that, right?
Good to know, right?
Right.
Glad
Yeah.
you came down.
It's a good thing to have on hand, I think.
Was Irene Delbono, was she
Irene
general
Delbono,
counsel
you
of one
remember.
of the state agencies
Yeah.
that regulated?
You remember
Parks?
Irene? She's the one that used to have Joel Lerner's job.
Yeah, I've never met her personally, but I
Yeah,
think
she
that
was
handout
counsel.
just lays everything out really well.
So motorcycle trails?
That
As long as they
it's-
were through,
Well, they pay, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. I would have to is it recreation or is it transportation? I think that's a
Oh, that's true, right?
A
Probably
fine line
recreational,
there.
right.
so.
So then we could do snowmobiles on the rail trail then, right? Would that work? I'm sorry.
And we're done.
Okay. All right, you continue, I'll shut up.
Okay. And then, so my next point is maintenance. So AMC has been maintaining that since the designation in 2009 as a national scenic trail, and we have every intention of continuing to maintain it. Right now, we have a trail adopter program, so we split our trail up as it goes through Massachusetts into sections. So that section is overseen by volunteers in the Pioneer Valley Hiking Club, but all the funding for their maintenance comes through us. We oversee all their projects. Nothing they do happens without us knowing about it. So it's definitely something that we take full responsibility for, and we obviously want to work with the town and the Conservation Commission for any large-scale projects, but continuing the maintenance of an accessible trail would be something we would take care of.
Would you like the maintenance of the rail trail? No? Add to your list?
We don't do rail trails so much.
Oh.
We're more hiking trails and,
Okay.
and that. But
Fair.
Couple more years, it'll
You
be
could
a
ask-
hiking trail.
ask the Pioneer Valley Hiking Club. I've never been on the rail trail before, but I'll have to get out there.
It is nice, yeah.
Well, Joe's never been a Rising Corner either.
But I just, yep, you beat me to it.
Okay, we'll have to switch off.
Yes, we will.
And then your final point, I believe, was the current state of the floating boardwalk. There are some issues with it currently. I think the people, I wasn't on board yet on staff with AMC when it was built, but I think the main consensus was the people who did the design of the bridge were not from New England, and so they didn't understand the freeze and thaw sensation. So we've been working, actually, Dennis got us in
They
touch.
didn't get the poles deep enough in the ground.
Yeah, didn't get the poles
So
deep enough
we-
in the ground.
Coming up with a solution to get the poles deep enough so that they're in bedrock. Right
Yeah.
now, they're coming up.
Yeah.
It's not a major deal. There's no actual structural damage to it, and we've taken the poles out that were floating out, so.
Right.
it's-
So it was the frost pushing them up
The
and it was
frost
making
pushing
it
them
out of
up, yeah.
alignment?
Yeah, exactly.
So it was rubbing.
Yep.
But we've been talking with Southwick's engineer,
Oh, yeah.
and he has lots of ideas, but it is something we're actively working on now. And the only reason I didn't put it as part of the scope of the grant application is because the funds wouldn't be released until 2019. And so it's something we want to address immediately with the funds we have now, rather than try and hold that off and have more damage take place.
Okay.
But it is something
We
we're
get the
working on.
engineers to agree on the diameter of the pole.
Yes, it's a hot debate right now, but
Good
we're
luck with
working on it.
Wonderful.
Do we have a count? You know, I know the letter refers to a tremendous amount of people using the trail. But I gotta be honest with you, most people in town don't even know it exists.
I know.
All right, so what kind of numbers? You know, and I know that's a hard thing.
Yeah, it is a hard thing. You know, we don't have ridge runners like the Appalachian Trail,
Right.
who are out there counting hikers. But like I said, the Pioneer Valley Hiking Club actively maintains it, and so they do lead hikes out on there frequently. They have like Tuesday hikes and Thursday hikes
Yeah.
that are.
Any given day, you'll see cars
Farmers
parked out there. You can
Yeah.
ask Jim Putnam, he probably keeps a more accurate count than anybody.
Well, I know my daughter at Wilderness Experience, they
Yeah.
do it, you know, and stuff like that. But
And-
I was just wondering, you know, if we go through with this, is it gonna open up, I mean, are we gonna publicize it more so people are more aware of it, or is that counterproductive, or?
No, we would definitely publicize it, especially as the fact that it's accessible now, in
Okay.
the hopes that that would, you know, increase use and increase awareness. We're always looking to increase awareness.
Yeah.
We're doing a new thing this year is a 50th anniversary of the National Trail System Act. So we've gotten funding to do more outreach and events and stuff.
Okay.
And so we're hoping to plan more awareness of the trails through that. I have a flyer for a special project that we're doing and events.
So you might do like a Saturday meet and we're gonna give you a tour of, okay, things like that, a little history.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also I talk about in my narrative, there's an educational group called Tinker Garden that's been using that section of trail for the past 6 months or so. They bring children out preschool age, and their educational system is entirely outdoors, and so they just take them out once a week, I think on
Tinker
Thursday
Garden?
morning. Tinker Garden. So I think it's throughout the country that they have these programs, but there's one local to Pioneer Valley. And so they've been using it, you know, as a
They can
educational
leave
tool
their cell
for
phones
kids.
home and,
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just hikers that are using it; it's children that are using it. And our hope is by making this accessible, that you know, people who might not necessarily get to use hiking trails can use this now.
Start them off young.
Well, we'll use the rail trail and this will be one more
Yes,
avenue to approach in a recreational community.
exactly.
Like
Okay.
Sofanowski, the land
Right,
preserve.
and promoting them. You
Yeah.
know, that
the
we
bridge
have.
has kind of become a destination because it is a beautiful area, the swamps and everything out there.
Yeah, there's great wildlife viewing, especially birds.
What was the purpose, Dennis, was it because it was a bog? I haven't been down that deep into it. Last time I went there, we didn't have the right footwear on. So we didn't go that far, but what is it? Is it a bog or is it, what is the bridge there for? What's it going over? Like wetlands?
It's always been called the
weeds?
bog bridge, so I guess, yeah, go with bog.
I mean, like the bridge that we have around here, you know, is it the same
Swamp,
stuff?
we call this a swamp, that a bog. I mean, they're all
Okay.
Yeah, it's
wet
due to
areas. yeah.
beaver activity, I think, is what's caused it over the years. But
Do we have any, since we have the lieutenant here, any police issues that you know of?
Nothing
Nothing.
I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
Good trails.
yeah, one thing we do have sometimes is ATVs try to go up to the and over the thing. But one thing we're hoping through this grant is to do like a gate,
Yep,
so that
Yep.
people have to like weave in and out, and so
you're right,
hoping to limit that.
Calming methods.
right.
Exactly.
And what's the amount of the grant request?
It's 43,000 total, and 10,000 of that is going to be matched through volunteer and staff time.
So it's 52 total, or 42, or
42.
32 in money and
42 total,
32 in
including
money.
the match of
Okay.
volunteer and staff time. So 30,000 is what or I don't have the exact numbers in my head right now, but it's all there. The budget sheet, I believe, is in the back. on the right side, there's an Excel sheet that breaks everything down. Yeah, we're requesting around 33,000, and then matched is about 10,000. And the recreational trails program grant in the past the pool has been about $1 million, and they just upped it to almost $3 million. So
There's more money out there.
yes,
Conservation wrote their letter of support last night.
oh, fantastic! Yeah, and we also have letters of support from the Park Service, Kestrel Land Trust, which has a conservation restriction on that land, and then the Pioneer Valley Hiking Club has also put in a letter of support. So a lot of community input.
I'm fine with it.
No, this was great.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
cleared up a lot.
We appreciate you coming in.
No, I thank you for
Anytime
having
you want
me.
to stop by and talk to us, it's great. Because you don't know all this, you know.
Right.
you-
No, I don't, I didn't know
it's
it
great.
either.
And that's
I
why
didn't know it
there was
either.
background on it from when the bridge had come in,
Mm-hmm.
and there had been discussion about it, even at the town meeting.
There's been so
about-
much discussion
Yes.
about a bridge to nowhere that's handicap accessible. Yes.
Yeah, no, I understand,
It's a
and it's
cute topic.
It comes from Forest Service guidelines, and so any structure they put in has to
We
go through
understand.
these guidelines. So
Right.
they have, backcountry porta potties that no one in the right mind would ever try to go to unless
But
you're
they're there.
But they're there.
Well, this will be great for our 250th anniversary celebration. This will be part of the,
Oh, add it to the list.
add it to the list.
So I need a, you
need a motion for the chair to
Need a
sign.
motion for the chair. I'll make a motion for the chair to sign this grant application,
Support of the
the
grant.
support of the grant application.
Second.
Fantastic. Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Signing.
Where'd you have to come from?
I live in Holyoke.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Came out to the country.
Exactly.
Thank you for your time.
Yes.
No,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming in. We
Very much.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, for putting
You're
that together.
welcome.
Yep.
Carly, you did get an email from Ben Coyle on the other,
Yeah,
don't rush, you don't have, you're not. Cindy.
well, we're gonna authorize the chair. So-
Here's some flyers for the 50 minutes.
But I need to go over it
Great.
with you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I need to go over that with you. All right.
Do you need this?
I mean, do you want to
She
keep
could
it
go
and
copy
then
it for
do-
it. Cindy, why don't you just go copy
The
it?
copy would be fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Let me skip back here. Okay. The next is the request for a transfer from reserves for the Cemetery Commission. Amount requested is $5,500 to remove declining and declined trees at the front of the new cemetery, 6 trees and all stumps.
Right, that would go along with an earlier smaller one you did because of all the trees that are out there.
Yep.
I thought Randy was looking into the state to see if the state would.
They have not responded to him. They're not gonna, the position of our insurer and everyone else is the state is not gonna take any action to do it because they'll just let them fall. And the way they're gonna fall is into the street or another time over the fence into the graves.
Yeah, I was just asking.
Yeah.
So,
You
no.
know,
So I,
What Randy is doing on our behalf is he is seeking the access permit from the Commonwealth because they have the jurisdiction over the trees, not him as the tree warden, because it's a state highway. So he has filed.
They're within
for
the
that.
right of way?
Yeah,
oh yeah.
so he has filed for that, but their position is, they'll just let.
Because
it
it's
fall.
where they land.
Right,
It's not where they
Right.
stand.
right.
So we got the other tree cleaned up.
yeah,
Um,
thank you.
the fence price wasn't a lot of money to fix the fence that came out of that first round. I went and looked at all the trees and they're all, some are already splitting. So I went back to Carl and said, they need to come down now. We went out and got quotes. That's where we came up with the numbers.
Right. Prevailing wage,
Yep.
quotes, it's under 10,000, it's not a problem.
We beat the guy up a little bit, like usual. And, it is what it is. I don't know, I'd rather do it while it's frozen, being over there, and we don't need a cop versus when they do fall, and then it's just gonna be nothing but a
So this will go
nightmare.
to the next FinCom meeting.
So, that's where it stems from.
Could Randy, when he's asking them about us, permission to remove their trees?
Permission to plant?
Right.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll make a note of that.
You know, because we were talking about planting trees for the 250th
Right.
anniversary in front of the old cemetery, and we might as well do the new
Just do 'em
cemetery
all,
too.
yeah.
Motion?
No, yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Catch it up. Here. The next one is under Building Department for vehicle maintenance. Transition cost repairs to use old SPD tired cruisers as building inspector car. Current car being difficult for repairs and parts. And this is for $3,000.
Right, so this is a newer one. It's been evaluated to make the transition, and it would also handle any particular outfitting that the building inspector needs to have in the vehicle so that he can have it synced up with his e-permitting program.
Just a plug.
Just a plug. They took everything out of it,
They
of course,
take
when it
everything out
left
when they-
the police
When
world.
they use it.
Of course they do.
They stripped those guys. I don't
Right.
even know.
Well, they practice
You know,
their
there's
car
nothing left.
thieving.
Yeah, I mean,
Detection.
everything. There's side stuff is missing. I just don't.
They probably
I don't
even
get
took
it.
the floor mats.
They did take
It's
it.
what
How'd you
comes
know?
from
I
the
knew they
factory
would.
Isn't what comes out the door when
Yeah,
it's.
it's amazing.
They took the floor mats.
They took the floor mats. So these two vehicles, one, so there's two of them. The other one,
Randy's looking.
Randy's looking at, and he has enough money in his account to take care of that car. This one, there's not enough money in the account, so that's why we're here. We went through them top to bottom, and roughly you're at $3,000 to fix it. It's getting newer than what they're driving by a long shot,
Oh, 6 or 7, 8.
and I would think we can get 4 or
What
5
year
out of
was
this,
that?
you know, at least,
11 or
Right.
13?
the way we roll.
So moved.
Right.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
See, I have all this time off now, so we're just,
Good lord.
I know, it's
It's costing us a fortune.
It is,
what
it is.
We gotta get back to work, Joe.
I feel sorry now calling up the Berkshire and tell them Blandford and tell them to close for the season.
Yeah. Oh, you ain't kidding.
Okay.
And what are those parts made in Europe?
Made in Europe.
What?
The lifts, all the,
Oh, that.
Issues, yeah.
Oh, at
What?
Blandford, I'm thinking these
It
are
was made in
Ford
another-
Interceptors. There shouldn't
No,
be
no,
too much
these-
European content
wow.
in them. The next is a letter dated February 1st from Alan Seaman from the Historical Commission. And he is submitting his resignation because of his work schedule. And he hopes to come back in the future as a volunteer in some capacity. So I need a motion to accept his
So moved.
resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They think they have somebody interested, so they want to wait to post.
Next item is Pioneer Valley Planning Commission invoice number 15 in the amount of $6,392.66. And it's got the detail as to who did what where,
Right, everything's attached.
and this is part of the Community Development Block Grant.
Correct.
$6,392.66.
just you signing?
No.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, coming down, sir. Oops, sorry. Next is a letter from Randall Brown, the DPW Director. As you're aware, the DPW recently internally posted the vacant heavy equipment operator position in accordance with the UPSEU union contract, which was vacated when Christopher Anderson resigned. Calvin Arnold and Ray Davignon III submitted a letter of interest for this position. Per the union contract, the town shall award it to the most senior applicant, provided their ability and qualifications are relatively equal to others submitting letters of interest. As such, DPW recommends awarding this highway heavy equipment operator position to Ray Davignon III. Mr. Davignon is currently the foreman of the solid waste division. Further, assuming that Mr. Davignon is transferred into the highway department, DPW recommends posting the foreman position for the solid waste division internally immediately in accordance with the UPSEU union contract. So, this is a two-step thing. First is we need a motion to appoint Ray Davignon III as the heavy equipment operator.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
It's a quick cycle over there, right? Here we go. Good guy, no issues
Yeah,
with
I mean,
the individual.
they're not bad guys.
No,
It's
no.
just
Moving them right up.
we gotta eventually get that under control.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so someone left, right? It wasn't
Yeah.
like they were tired.
Christopher Anderson
Chris
relocated to
left.
Boston.
There's an opening.
Yep.
Right, it's musical chairs.
It's musical chairs.
People move around within divisions.
I understand what you're saying, Russ. It's, you just wonder sometimes.
It's just we live in a small town.
We
We
do.
have a transfer facility.
Yeah.
Most of the people's only interaction with the town of Southwick
Is
is the
transfer.
transfer facility
Yeah.
on a weekly basis.
Well, me and Doug got a way to fix that. But anyways. I agree.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Step 2, approve the posting of the foreman position for the solid waste division internally in accordance with the UPSEU union contract.
So we have to post it internally so someone may want to go there from another position?
Yeah, that's in case somebody wants to transfer it back in.
We have to
from
do that
another
first no matter what, right? And then
Right, unless you have an agreement up front with the bargaining unit that you
Copy.
can waive that.
So moved.
And that
Second.
wasn't done.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So absent.
So just waste a couple of weeks of posting and then come back and say, geez, no one wanted to go to the transfer station. Although I shouldn't say it that way because some people do go back to the
Occasionally.
transfer station. Yeah.
Third. Ma'am. Look at that, with 2 check marks out of that.
Looking go.
Old business. Covered bridge? Not?
Report, I know Ben and the chief are working on developing a letter that's gonna go to the abutters to put them on notice about what apparatus the fire department can respond with.
Do we have a schedule to have that done? Said letter.
Yeah, I think the chief and Ben are working on it, so we'll give you an update at the next meeting.
Please. North Pond bylaw?
Right, if you recall, Ben is working on a couple of edits with the chief, and then they're going to be in a position to have that public informational meeting you want, but at the same time, I think there'll also be, my suggestion was to submit it to the same Assistant Attorney General who reviews bylaws after they've gone through town meeting. So
Excellent.
that you'll get a decent, maybe you'll get a read on it from that agency. We did not, of course, get anything back from the state agency that actually regulates that subject matter
Right.
after 6 months.
So like constructive approval, sort of, kind of.
Or input, especially on the entity that will eventually get it if town meeting
Right.
can approve it and send it to them.
How long will we wait for them to give us input if they're going to or not?
We did.
I don't
No,
think.
no, that
Oh.
part, but
The other
if we
entity,
send it to
I
the
think your,
other.
I think your position last time was you're still gonna go ahead with your.
Okay, so yeah, we'll gladly send
Is
them
it-
a copy. and-
Right, because of the time frame.
Yeah,
And the bylaw will bring clarity, if anything. It's
Right.
not gonna be over the top, so.
no,
No,
Because
because-
we don't have clarity today for enforcement and for the folks that live there, so.
Right.
Right, and the question.
Agreed.
The issue is, that's an opportunity to get some succinct clarity, and without it, if it were to not be approved, then it would just go back to the way the chief of police is administering the law now,
Right.
so.
Correct. Which is problematic based on the discussions we had with the state's attorney anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Oops.
But what
That's
you-
why we were here in the first place.
But what you came out of that meeting with was them suggesting that you craft a local bylaw.
Right.
And
Correct.
when you submitted it to same agency, they didn't do anything with
Crickets.
it for 6 months.
Crickets, right. Makes sense.
Paralysis.
Sewer abatement
I reached out, heard nothing back.
from,
The sewer abatement, which that's the one for the wilderness.
Right.
Yeah, I actually talked to the assistant to the assistant, I don't know. And they, will report back to the young lady that's in charge. And I left a text message with the older gentleman the father there. So I reached out to everybody, he's not around,
They're all out of the country.
they're all out of the country.
Right.
so we'll
He
carry,
forgot to tell me that part.
Okay.
But it's there, but,
Yeah,
my phone number, my cell phone, everything, they have it
yeah.
all.
so we'll carry this to next week then?
We're gonna carry this for a few weeks.
Yeah, because,
They're out of the country.
Out of the country.
right.
Takes a long time to travel.
It does.
Social media policy. We
I
passed
did-
this out
I
last
did-
week.
Yep.
Well, yeah, we gave the one that Russ had picked up at one of the seminars, and then I
Yep.
gave you a copy of the one that the town has that you've signed as a policy. So you need to review that one to see if you want to modify it.
Okay,
Because yours actually is more inclusive in the sense that it names all the different entities, like people on boards and committees and employees, whereas the examples Russ gave us separates that. You had one that was just for employees, and then you had, this other one was for volunteers and people on boards and committees.
correct. Because, well, I read it briefly, and we should probably come back to this next week again, but
Right.
the telecommunication system policy that the town has is primarily concerned with regulating the use of town-owned equipment on town property during working hours, or when you're in town hall. This is more than that, right? This has to do with
Yeah, anything, anywhere.
social, essentially, right, and general conduct in and out of the office
Right.
regarding,
You brought that
The
issue
use of
up.
social media,
I did
right.
provide a copy to the town clerk's office for them to review, because you had asked about that issue, especially with the Facebook.
yeah, and, well, compliance with open meeting law and
Right.
compliance with
Public records.
public records, right, because that is problematic. And the law, frankly, just doesn't take that into
match where we are
account,
now
right?
with technology.
Correct. Like, how would they, there's no way to do it.
Archiving, right.
Right.
Couldn't think of any way to track.
No, there's not. There's not. And even the young lady at the presentation said exactly the same thing, right? That's so far out in front of the law that it's impossible to comply from a user standpoint and from a town, a record keeper's perspective.
And 4 lawyers and 4 different opinions.
Shocker.
Well, some of us were at other seminars, so we didn't go to that one.
Well, we were at the
off on
good
more
one.
dry topics.
So yeah, we were at a good one.
Dry they were.
So we'll pick this one up and try to reconcile that next week.
Should we maybe do a work session, some night?
That would be a good
you know,
idea.
And knock off a couple of things?
Sure.
Yeah, and that type of a thing, you may want to have a member of council present for
Right,
that.
right, that's what I was thinking.
Because independent, because Labor Council's gonna look at the employee one. This is a town council one.
Right.
Yeah.
Make a list of all the things that we need to
Go
chew
over.
on and,
Yeah.
kill one bird, 3 stones, or 3 birds, 1 stone, I don't know.
Either way,
Either way,
In
kill
other
it.
words-
we
in
could have
other
4
words-
birds, 5 stones. We got this all figured out.
In other words, you wanna have pizza that night, and
That's
you know you'll get fed.
Essentially,
Right,
yes.
essentially.
250th anniversary. So we did have, I had the opportunity to chat with one of our representatives regarding same, and he's going to reach out to the other elected representative to make sure that they're in agreement on the legislative action that was requested to make sure
I
that they
did.
match.
I was charged with the board to follow up with the senator. I had done that. The senator did respond to me that he was gonna have discussions with the rep, and that he was thinking somewhere in the order of 50,000 would be what he would pursue.
Well, the rep, our rep made a few comments at a meeting, and I relayed that to the senator, who told me he would take care of the matter and take care of the rep at the same time.
All I cared about is it wasn't just for a parade, because I
Correct.
then got educated on if it says parade, you need to have that parade in
Well-
the year the monies came in, not the year you
The
won.
good senator is going to word it like he did for our great sister city of Westfield.
Right.
Where that we would have latitude
More
as he.
expansive use of it.
Right, as he
Several
explained to me,
fiscal
if we
years.
were going to have a parade and there was a pothole, that money could also be used to fill that pothole if necessary on the day of the parade, you know. So there would be a lot of latitude that the money could be used for planning,
Yep.
implementing,
It's fine.
whatever.
Social events,
Right,
balls.
Yep,
Right.
throughout the year.
banquets.
And I am watching Westfield closely, because theirs will be before us.
the year before.
Yeah, and just to see what they're doing and what,
Well, that's what I would suggest to the committee once it's formed.
right.
No need to reinvent the wheel. I would go up and sit in on one of their meetings to begin with, and maybe look at all their notes when they first started,
Right.
and steal as much as possible.
I had planned on that.
Right.
Right, Sandra's finishing the wording.
Stealing is such a
Benchmark.
perfect word.
It actually
Right,
knows
there's a
somebody that's
better
on their
word.
committee, so I'll talk to him.
Did I say?
Make a
Did I
note
say
that-
stealing?
I thought you said benchmark.
Benchmarking is a
Oh, you
better
said
word.
Steven,
for
but I don't know who
certain.
Steven is.
Steven.
No.
I
Yeah.
said Steven.
I thought you said Steven.
Ah,
I was going to talk to Steven.
Yeah.
this thing on. Okay.
So Cindy will be working with the select person designee for that subcommittee.
Beautiful.
Excellent. We also asked them for a ladder truck while we were at it. Nothing to lose.
We did.
Well, you need a ladder truck for the parade.
To put the banners across the road.
Right, and you put the banners up.
That's an expensive pole.
School facilities walkthrough.
Yep, it's all set. Russ just needs to confirm tonight, and then we can finalize.
February
the schedule.
20th.
Yep,
It's done.
they're doing it. Bob and the building inspector and the school officials will be there.
It was very productive last year, but now we have a new gentleman, a new Eric. You know,
New Eric, right.
Who seems pretty sharp. That'll be good to have.
Okay, so we'll let
Good
Stephen know, we'll let the
relationship.
business manager know, Russ, that you've confirmed. Okay,
Confirmed. Other old business.
No. That I'm aware of.
New business. Co-holder agreement for Long Yard Larrow West LLC APR for state and federal grant.
right, that is the APR that was done for the McLaughlin property on Larrow and North Long Yard. I believe it was, you did a local share of 10% through the APR account, and the federal government and the state government are splitting the remaining funds for it. So a co-holders agreement is required for the federal government to finalize their share of it. And we have done this before in the past. The town attorney has approved it to form. He's got a couple of questions, but he has said that the chairman could sign off on it.
Should there be a motion for the chair to sign?
Yes, there should be, because there's only one place on the form anyway. So there'll be several places on the document that the chair will have to sign off representing the town as a co-holder.
So I'll make a motion, if needed, in the next few weeks to have the chair sign the agreement with the Larrow West and South Long Yard Road APR.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Other new business.
Two things. We have it's come to my attention that the police chief may need some latitude in having the board authorize some donated sick time between members of the department because of a family illness in the department. So I would like to have the board authorize the chairman and the CAO to work with the police chief on any required MOU with the police union to affect said use of donated sick leave for that matter.
Form of a motion, I guess, right?
Yep. That would authorize. the
Second.
secretary to do it.
Motion was made to Carl, what he said.
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Okay, next item. At the trade show, Sheila Chamberlain had run into one of the vendors regarding solar projects. Now, obviously, we have a lot of privately owned solar projects going on, but this entity had asked her about whether or not Southwick was interested in using any of its town-owned properties, which in towns can be landfills, treatment plants, rooftops, and other lands for, to see if you want to let them know if you're interested in any town-owned properties that would have to go through that process. Now, I think we'd have to do an RFP and a bid and all that other kind of stuff like we did, and in the past, you have so many privately owned ones already, and you have more coming online, that in the past, the board has not been inclined to do this, but this is a reality check. I'm bringing it before you to see if there's any change in the board's understanding on that.
I talked to him too. I explained to him we had a lot of.
Everybody was giving everybody
Things-
my name and business card.
Absolutely, I told him.
Well,
talk
and
to
then you know.
But I said the only thing I could think off the top of my head was the transfer station, the acreage up there. And he said, "What do you think it is?" I said, "Well, it's just a few acres. We'd be interested." So I said,
I would think that one other thing to consider is if someone was looking for a prime piece to put panels on a roof, if they were interested, we would be very amenable to having a discussion regarding the DPW place, in the sense that any leasehold improvement that we would make there with a solar, in the fact that we're looking at a very expensive roof project, that might be a way to defray some of said cost.
That's true.
Kill two birds with one stone, to
I
use,
thought we were using 5 stones.
well, this would be two, because this would be private work. If
Okay.
it's government work, it's 5 stones. But, if we're having to look at that project coming up as a significant bill,
Sure, in the budget process, when we're talking to Bob about that issue.
and there'd be an offset.
We can raise this issue as a possibility, because that would have to be something that would be part of it, the design and
Right.
because any improvement over 100,000, you're gonna have an architect anyway, the town.
Correct. Correct. I'm just looking at it, if you're gonna have, the number being bandied around was a mid-6-figure number.
Yeah,
I don't know what the lease return on something like this would be over a 10 or 20-year lease to lease the roof to a solar entity.
and have
At
them
least-
put the actual roof on too, below it.
No, maybe not, but at least you could recover some of that sunk cost of putting north of $250,000 on the tin can. You can put solar panels and recover some of that money.
Right,
Because you certainly aren't gonna put solar panels on an old roof.
yeah. Well, not only that,
We could sell the tin can.
Well, that's a longer range thing that we need to start looking
You
at.
also have coming 2 separate requests. I mean, Randy had talked about putting
Addition.
an addition on for
The-
the grinder pump
Grinder pump.
maintenance issue, and separate from that, and maybe not known, Mr. Dunlap was thinking about putting another addition on for more vehicles like units. So that'll be coming through Capcom. So we're gonna have to, anything to help. So we're gonna have to see what these things look like,
Right.
and where they're being positioned, and how that fits into the current footprint.
Right. I mean, it's a decent-sized building. There's also a fairly large,
Oh, solar, there's no tree canopy around it. that-
Right.
no,
no,
and
it's
there's
wide
also a
open.
fairly large parking lot that we own that you're seeing more and more where
Smith and Wesson.
they're making a car park cover over it and putting solar on the top of it.
Yep.
For equipment that we would store normally outside, you don't need it. It doesn't need to be enclosed on 4 sides. It's just a flat roof with supports,
Yeah.
right? So
UMass
someone
has
may,
got those. UMass has
somebody
those.
would be. You've seen it around airport too. Airport
Yeah.
parking. That's a big deal right now. But that's something to consider, just to defray some of the cost of, continually maintaining these older, decaying buildings that we seem to acquire. But and then we have to look down the road 20 years too, as to where how that DPW facility's gonna shape up, whether that's gonna continue to be it, or we're gonna look to strategically work on that for when that building is at the end of its functional life.
That was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
But anyways.
I'm trying to be kind, but yeah,
well,
yeah, more like 5, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say like 10.
The day
Yeah, well,
before,
the day before we bought
the
it,
day
right,
before we
yeah.
bought it, its lifespan was done.
So, and then there was something in our folder, our mail, I don't know if we're gonna carry it regarding, I know that the opiate thing is canceled for tomorrow, but there was a letter that was sent to us regarding law firms that were
Right.
considering, it's not a class
Oh, I
action,
saw
but it's a
that.
group action against some of the drug manufacturers themselves.
Yep, they had called me and they sent me the package and I just put it in your thing to see if there's any interest on, on the board to, I just figured you were gonna go through the other thing tomorrow night, then you'd be like wanting to think, okay, now we have a really good understanding of the subject matter from these other professionals. And then that would help you determine whether or not you'd be interested in talking to any of these other municipalities that have joined that group suit.
That would be a great topic for the work session, to kind of
Yeah.
talk that through a little bit. Because it has a little merit. I don't know if I'm eager to join that kind of litigation personally, but it's novel. And there was some, I've been doing some other research, getting ready for the event that was scheduled for tomorrow, and there's multiple news stories and stuff about percentage of prescription drugs and this, that, and the other. And then there was some town in Virginia, West Virginia, where there was the average shipped into this one town of like
1,000 pills. a day.
400,000 pills a day. It was enough to give every citizen in the county enough for
6,000
100-year
pills.
supply every day. Like something's wrong, right? When that
Yeah.
happens, something's just wrong.
Yeah.
And how does
The
that?
pharmacy data tracking, there's all these new mechanisms in place to.
Correct. And it's
To
just,
track pharmacy shipments.
it's a ludicrous number that even mathematically it doesn't even make any sense. You can understand, there's a high population of cancer patients or something like this, and you have a high percentage in an area, but this number was just it was absurd, the number.
It was just leading
Right.
to a high percentage of addiction.
And where is that? Where are those pills going? It's certainly not going to all these residents of this one town in West Virginia or county or even the state. The material is moving, so it does call into question, from a pharmaceutical manufacturer, looking at where their product's going, especially knowing what it's capable of. So, food for thought. Certainly something to discuss at the work session. Holy cow, 50 minutes. That's not bad.
While we're on this topic, and the lieutenant's here, do we still have that container in the police department lobby for prescription
Yes.
drugs?
Yeah.
Do you?
The only thing that's different now is the sheriff's department has come in and taken responsibility for picking it up. When we call them,
Yeah.
our officer doesn't have to take it to the location anymore. The sheriffs actually have people that come in and get rid of it for us.
So the chain of custody is right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah, we box it for them,
Right.
but then they sign off and they take the whole thing
Do
away.
you leave the label on with the name of the person
We
and
don't
what the
touch
drug
anything.
is?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know,
It's-
I haven't been instructed on the policy, but I do know we've never.
Probably,
instructed
so if
people.
they're not touching it, so it's whoever, it's the way the person dropped it off.
So I didn't know whether you should leave the label
Yes.
on so they know what the drug is.
That, and it's just personal opinion. That, and if you're bringing it there and by some happenstance you're stopped,
Yep.
you have the bottle with the prescription and whoever's person's name on it that it belongs to.
Good
And
idea.
you don't have an unlabeled bottle of prescription medication in your vehicle.
Yeah.
Just for
Remember last
anyone
time
doing that.
happened? No.
Well,
Yeah, well, yeah.
well, I told you the story about a certain
Ever seen cops?
mother-in-law with a trunkload of
Absolutely.
stuff that she cleaned out of a friend's house
Sure.
that went into a nursing home,
Yep.
and I said, "What? You got a trunkload of what?"
Yeah.
True
I will
story.
tell you, it's phenomenal, the amount of stuff that does come through that.
I was just gonna ask you,
I
how
was-
full does it get?
How frequently do you have to call them?
Like I said, I didn't know now as far as us calling him, I know watching calls, how many times he had to do that, and had to box the thing up and stuff. We're talking boxes. I mean,
Right.
that thing, it'd be sometimes you'd open that door and the stuff would be falling out, they couldn't even put the stuff, back in there. For a small town, it's just amazing.
It's the size of a regular postal mailbox, right? And I
That's
was,
a good thing. It's a good thing people
Oh,
are
it's
getting
great.
rid of.
Get them
That's
off
the
the
good
street,
Correct.
Get them off, right, absolutely.
but I was actually at the police station one day. A gentleman came in to drop it off. The thing was full.
Yeah.
And it had been emptied not that
Yeah.
long before, and
Yeah.
the police actually have to take quite a bit of work. Because now they got a box, it's evidence, they gotta tag it, put it away in the
Right.
safe and everything else until it's empty. So, yeah, it's quite a lot of stuff coming through there, and it's serious business.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Other new business? We do not need an executive session.
No, sir.
We're done in under an hour. Good work, gentlemen.
It's because of the chairman.
It is, boy, oh boy. And at
Motion
5 or
to-
6, I was wondering if you guys were even showing up. So.
At 5 of 6, I was on the fence. Motion to adjourn.
Keep these there.
Aye. Thank you. See you next week.
Take a couple.